Hi folks, I am going to return to this piece here with Saint Joseph and the Blessed Mother and the Child Jesus, the Holy Family here. This is the more down-to-earth one with more simple clothing, the less iconographic one where the parents of Jesus are holding his hands, trying to help him walk a little bit. I can relate to this because we'd like to help my son walk just like this, and he's a great walker now, but he still has to hold our hands if he gets a little bit too out of hand or trips or something. But I'm going to do something I rarely do, which is do a line art pass after another line art pass. I want to do, it looks like this will be my 6th pass, but it's been a while since I've worked on this, and I feel like I've already improved. So I want to like get in here and really take my time with it. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to zoom in here, and I'm just going to trust the process. I've learned to trust the process, that for me, art is a searching process. I'm not really great with pre-visualization. But if I see just minor things that can be changed in the line art, I'll intuitively catch it and just change it right away as I go. So even now, just zoomed in this far, I can see that I can throw in some details of the ear that wouldn't have been there otherwise. Again, it doesn't have to be like super crazy perfect, but I feel like it can be better. That I want to give, if I'm going to do holy work, represent Jesus and the saints, I want it to be to the best of my ability. What I'm seeing here right now is something I feel that I can do better. The face of Saint Joseph that's here. Now, I did like the expression, just this slightly closed eyelid, sort of relaxed but also caring and loving toward his wife and son here. So, maybe a little bit old looking. Just a little bit, to show that he's a worker. Not that he's not strong, but to show that he works hard. So, a worker, but not necessarily weary either. I want to make this gaze something very loving. So, some eyelash there and some eyelid here. I'm going to take my time with it. I was having a really wonderful conversation with ChatGPT earlier, talking about building an art business, developing myself, developing the brand of Opus Lilium, business ideas of where to take that. And we had a really long conversation, and I feel like I should talk to ChatGPT more. It's very, very responsive now. It's very fast. I think the latest ChatGPT is like ChatGPT 4.0 or something, and it's like available to the public. I think there's like limited use of it. And then I think ChatGPT 4 is just the standard now, and it's pretty much taken over as far as like what we have access to. But it's very fast as long as you have an internet connection. Its ability to have a conversation is very nice. So I was talking to it about my work and what I could do moving forward. But we talked about a little bit about beauty and perfection and what that is. These are things that I've talked about on my channel a little bit, and my relationship with beauty and perfection. I always thought, like, I went with the whole adage of nobody's perfect, right? And I've talked about this before, where that's true in a way, but also not true in other ways, because it's true in the sense that, like, what does perfect even mean? Does that mean you never ever make a mistake in your whole life? Okay, so that's, I don't know. Only a couple of people, as far as I know, have had that grace, and that's Jesus and the Blessed Mother. Or does it mean that, well, let's say someone has made a lot of mistakes in their life, but then after making those mistakes, they learn, and then they choose not to do that mistake anymore. They're perfect in the sense that one can say, I am 100% not going to do this particular thing anymore ever, and then that person succeeds in that, in a way that there is some level of perfection there. So maybe in small like portraits, in small like slices of our life, and they are indeed slices, like atomic level slices in the course of the the grand calculus of time, but those collectively in someone's life are what sainthood is. We take a look at the lives of the saints, and they exemplify moral virtue. They exemplify piety and how one should pray and what one should be devoted to, what one should worship. And Yeah. So, in a way, at some point, whether it's some deep conversion or just some moment where they choose to repent, or in the miracles that God works through them by no will of their own or by no power or merit of their own, God just picks them. It's like, hey, I'm going to do all these things to you and through you, and then they say yes, okay. And some people have that grace, like Mary has that grace. So, but yeah, these are all like the perfection for me is unity with God. And I'm not sure how to explain this in like naturalistic terms. Like, if you don't believe in God, which I would imagine a lot of you do, if you're listening to this and you're just interested in the art in these videos, if you don't believe, how does that work? How is perfection attained? Well, let's think about it this way. Like, if we're talking about like a life of sinfulness and a life of mistakes and imperfection, when the world says nobody's perfect, like, that's true, and it's a good like comforting thing to say, because it makes it so that, well, your mistakes are human, everyone makes them, but they're still recognized as mistakes, and we sometimes in the interest of being nice, in the interest of being in the interest of avoiding pain, we soften the blow of like, well, it was still a mistake. Everyone makes mistakes. We will live on, and we can correct them, but the mistake was still made, and just acknowledging that part hurts. And I feel like in order to really improve, we have to acknowledge, okay, that part really hurt. It hurt me and it hurt other people, and that's a mistake. I don't want to. Okay, so going back to the drawing here, I don't want to just trust the line art. I want to make some decisions with discretion as far as like how to express the different pieces of this, because like, what does his hair really look like here? A little sideburn connected to a beard, and I can see some hatching lines there. And the hatching lines are good. Let's take a look at how it looks good. I already like the way the third pass is looking in comparison to the second one. Like I said, I improved. So I was a little bit more detail oriented on the eyelids and stuff like that. So it doesn't feel like I'm improving sometimes, but I know that I am. Just getting the reps in improves you. And that segues right into what I was talking about with ChatGPT, where I think of a basketball player like Steph Curry, where he is the greatest three-point shooter of all time, and he doesn't make it every single time. That's part of what makes it exciting to watch him, because obviously there's people who strategize against him and try to defend against him. But there's some games where he just takes over and just wins the game off of his strength as a point guard, as a shooter, as a shooter and a point guard. I don't really watch basketball anymore, but I'm just using him as an example. There's a lot of players, and there's top players in any sport, in any game, that are like him, or whether or not it's a game, there's top performers in anything, and they're taking that worldly task, that responsibility, and refining it and refining it and refining it, and never really achieving perfection. Because in a basketball, what does that mean? Because any of these finite numbers can be pushed to closer and closer to infinity. Like, can Steph Curry make can he make like 15 3-pointers in a game? Okay, so can he make 20? Can he make 40 3-pointers in a game? I mean, at that point, you're at 120 points. But is it possible? Like, I would imagine that as soon as you inbound the ball from full court, you just perfectly robotically lob the ball up, and it just goes straight into the net. Like, in the future, maybe if we have robots playing basketball, they'll be able to do that, right? With the way robotics and machine learning works, like, that's something that technically our technology can do, if you just imagine the possibilities. Is it interesting? Is it necessary? No. But it's something that can be done. And that's interesting. And that's because that machine learning, that's what it's meant to do, is it has a goal in mind. It is oriented toward a goal. It's oriented toward an end. So ChatGPT, being a language model, wants to master language and be able to communicate, and help people communicate, and provide whatever services it does, like answering people's questions, following people's prompts. That's its power. That's what it was intended to do. And is it geared towards something infinitely? Like, what does it mean for ChatGPT 5, 6, and 7 to be more useful? What does that look like? And that completely depends on what is the mission and vision and purpose of the development team at OpenAI. So it's like there is complexity in mastery coming from simplicity of what the goal is, and what the I guess the win condition is. Now let's bring this to, for me, like religion, or for you, if you're not religious, just call it the moral life. So what does it mean to not make a mistake in that sense? Well, to not make a mistake is it's a zero. It's a blank slate, and it's a good platform with which it's a springboard from which you can take off and be like, okay, now I can live a life of virtue, diligence, and and goodness. Actually contribute something to the world, just because I'm not doing bad things anymore. And then, the question becomes, okay, what can I do now, and how far can I push this and refine this, and knowing that the sky's the limit. And even that phrase, the sky's the limit, is a funny phrase, because it's like, okay, obviously no one's going to ever reach the maximum of the sky, because it's practically infinite. We don't know for sure if it's infinite, but talking scientifically here, but it's practically infinite. Deep web telescopes have shown us in a tiny pixel hundreds of galaxies. So who knows what's out there? We might never see it all. But I think the vastness of space also points to the glory of God, in the sense that it is a created thing. It'll always be a mystery. In fact, it's the way the universe is set up. It's so much of a mystery that things are going to disappear over time, because the universe is expanding faster than the light can reach us. Before getting on a tangent too much about space and time now, I always want to reel it in. That's kind of one of my new little mantras or phrases, just to reel it in. Let's bring it back to my life as a layman. Like, I'm drawing St. Joseph right now, and I have to remember, St. Joseph was not a theologian. He was not a philosopher. He was not an astronomer. He was not an astrologer. He wasn't a physicist, but he worked alongside physics, to create crafts with tools. Whatever it is he made. I don't know if he was a carpenter, or the language says tecton, which means he was just like an artisan craftsman. Who knows what he was making? Maybe he was making chairs, tables. Maybe he was making some pottery. Who really knows? But whatever it is, he did that for his simple purpose of taking care of two very special people to him, and two very special people to the entire Christian church. He played a pivotal role in that, saving them from Herod, saving them from Egypt, making sure they had a place to stay, even if it was a poor place to stay. But he did that, and it was crucial in our history. So something about that story helps me see that, okay, I can be perfect as a man, as a family man. Even, coming from a life of sin and choosing to be in a life of repentance, I can still be a family man and make good choices without needing or having to control all the elements that are around me, because I can't. That's up to God. And I feel like as long as I work in tandem with God, whether I live or if I die, there will be redemption, there will be justification, not through my own merit, but through the sacrifice of Jesus. So it's like, I'm going to be okay, So, and if I'm living a life of repentance, okay, I'm not sinning. But God doesn't just ask us to not sin. And let's take a naturalistic explanation of it. In life, our moral decisions are not just saying no to bad stuff. Like, no, I'm not going to binge drink on alcohol today, or something like that. No, I'm not going to, cheat on my homework today, like something like that. I'm going to live with integrity. It's a spiritual principle. It's something beyond time, and that governs decisions in the moment. So yeah, not sure exactly what I'm getting at here, but I gotta head to lunch soon. I have a few minutes. Again, I'm gonna compare the line art here. Yeah, so it's very detailed, and I think the detail is quite satisfying. There's some pieces that I can sort of fill in here. Like, I feel like there could be more beard strokes, like maybe on this side. And then the color scheme we're gonna pick, I already, kind of changed the color scheme quite a few times on this one, and I feel like I fell on something I was satisfied with. But I think it's a little bit dark, and I'm gonna mess a little bit with the background color on it too. But yeah, this is the part of art where I can kind of sort of autopilot. Obviously I want to get better at it, but a lot of times I just catch things as I go. So things for me have ended up being good that way. Now I'm going to try to avoid that undo. I saw myself undo that quite a few times. You guys have probably been seeing me undo quite a lot here. If only I can get it in one go. I'm getting a little bit drowsy as well. But this is a piece I do want to finish. I guess I'll be working on this one until I finish, and then I have another Holy Family piece that I want to finish until the priest gets back to me on doing the painting. So in the meantime, I don't have any commissions. You can feel free to commission me. Just DM me or leave a comment or something. I'll give you my Discord or my email or something, and you can send me a request. And I think that would be very good for me. It's slowed down. I finished that last one, and I have blank queue again. Prices do go up if I have a long queue, and prices do go down if I have a short queue. So I'll talk to you guys later. I gotta go, so I'll talk to y'all later. God bless. Bye bye.